So this is gonna make me look ridiculous as hell. But years ago, I had a dream. I was Popeye, and Bluto had me by the throat. He was choking me, and I was going, "Monkey Bluto, Monkey Bluto," and I thought it was a pretty sick burn. Because I was feeling pretty confident because I was about to pop open my can of spinach and start kicking ass. And then suddenly I woke up and I heard "Monkey Bluto, Monkey Bluto," except it was actually the sound that the water pump was making. I lived in a little studio apartment that was built around a water tank that supplied an entire ranch, and that was the water pump was in my apartment. It was loud as hell. After a while, you'd sleep through it. It's like living next to a train. You don't notice anymore. But that was a strange little apartment. There was no air conditioning. The theory being that the water tank would keep the place cool, which kind of did, but it kind of would get mildew on the outside. And also, there was a fire ant problem. But all in all, it was a decent place. I was lucky to have any place at all. Bernie was growing really fast at that time. That was my first newspaper job and my first apartment. And I was when I answered the ad, it was the rich guy who owned the place, his daughter, and she was like really grilling me about we want you to be almost a hermit, and I was like, yeah, I don't have any friends yet, we'll be good, and she goes, this is a gated ranch, it's a privilege to have this, and I was like, well, that's good because I don't want anybody to steal my CDs. And she goes, I didn't know they let you take those home from the bank. I meant CDs, compact discs. Obviously, a little class difference there. So, anyway, rich dude who owned the place. Me and him got to be kind of good friends. Me and him had the same politics, even though we didn't have the same economics. We were Republicans. We both liked Reagan. And one thing he did is he knocked off a little bit of rent if I would clean his Cessna. So I had to wipe the bug splats off of his Cessna, and then he took a little bit off my rent. One thing I noticed though is that after I was doing that job, he started kind of noticeably talk down to me a little bit. I was just like, well, I'm not this guy's servant. I'm his tenant. I have a job. So I said, well, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. I got to cover too many games. So, all right. And then his attitude changed a little bit. It was interesting. One time he took me on a ride in his Cessna, and I went and met some of his friends who also had private plans. They'd meet at a certain place for coffee. And they had kind of the same politics as me. They were Republicans. They had different economics than me. So he was introducing me, and he goes, well, this here is my tenant. And this one guy who had his hand stuck out went like this. And I noticed it. I was like, file that away. Same politics, different economics. Maybe it's not actually the same politics. Didn't figure that out for a long time. Anyway, he had, it turned out that he had terminal prostate cancer. And I would go and meet with him every now and then. He'd tell me stories. He was an engineer who had been successful. He was in World War II, and he was a pretty cool dude. He was raising goats. And after I kind of felt bad because I did get busy at work, and I lost track of the time, and he passed, and I had wanted to go talk to him somewhere, and I didn't. But after he died, then my little place, they... I didn't have that same friendship with his family. We were okay, but we didn't really know each other. And they gave my little place to a family that had a last name that's the name of a Texas county, and just told me, you're gonna have to move. And so then I had to move into the oldest daughter's place. She didn't move any of her stuff out. There were fleas in the place. I had to set off bug bombs, and I was just like, well, I'm not gonna clean my place and clean up the ant bait and everything until she cleans this place out first, which she did not. And then there was a cleanup day at work, and I was just like, I think I'd rather impress my boss And so I did that, and then they had to pay somebody to clean up that apartment. I was just like, fair enough. Anyway, I got to thinking, we've got all these homeless camps around town, and back in the Depression, they would have called those Hoovervilles, blaming it on Herbert Hoover, who was the president during the stock market crash. And I remember we had a teacher when I was a kid who she loved Herbert Hoover, and she thought he got a bum rap. That the Depression was not his fault, and people need to quit saying things like Hoovervilles. And but I got thinking, at least people may have been wrong. Maybe it wasn't Herbert Hoover's fault, but they were on the right track in one way, and that it was politics and economics that put those people in those tents, not the people didn't choose it. In fact, if they can afford a tent, then they probably used to be able to make rent. So that's a little something to think about. Where you live and what people think about you has to do with politics and economics. And we are the ones who decide the society that we prioritize what's important. Do we want people to be able to have a place to live or not? It's pretty much our decision. Those people, they don't really have a lot of say. We can squeegee them to this part of town, squeegee them over to this other part of town, but that's not solving the problem. I can't act like I'm a big homeless advocate. I did give a guy $10 because he looked pitiful the other day, and then I paid a guy $5 one time to squeegee some bug juice off of my windshield that was right in the middle. So I can't tell anybody else what to do, but at the very least, we could have a little bit of sympathy for these people. So because I bet most of them would kill to have a place that said Monkey Bluto all night. Anyway, that's it.